What you have before you, my friend, at this very moment is one of the greatest, I think, modern flexes on behalf of an automaker, and quite possibly the first electric super Q ship. Because as you can very well see, this is a 2023 Kia EV6 GT. Now, if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you know about the GT and you know what it's about. But what I'm loving and finding absolutely crazy this week, at least so far, is that as I'm driving around in what, for 99.9% of the people, is just a regular Kia EV6. I mean, there are more and more of them on the roads, at least, you know, in the greater Montreal area. It's far from being common at this point. So to see this one coming down the road, it looks almost, in fact, it is about 99% identical to the regular EV6, which is why it's such a super Q ship. And again, if you know anything about the EV6 GT, you probably have an idea of what the specs are, which is why I call it, you know, the ultra or the super Q ship. Because the thing that I find funny about driving around in this is that so far, in all scenarios that I've found myself, this has been not only the most powerful, but the fastest car I've come across on, you know, all the roads that I've been down on. And it's just a Kia EV6. When you think about it, that's insane. Look, suffice it to say that, I mean, in the past, I've driven a couple of EV6s, and it remains among mainstream all-wheel drive, well, you know, upper mainstream all-wheel drive EVs. It remains one of my favorites, not only for the EV performance, which, never mind the GT, just like a long-range all-wheel drive, the tech involved, and specifically speaking for me, the styling, it's still one of my absolute favorite EVs. But just before I go on, I've come to terms with a number of things, the Koreans being one, that they're just absolutely killing it despite, you know, my misgivings about their long-term reliability and durability. But the general rule now, well, it has been, in fact, for a little while, but now I'm using it more and more, is that no EV should be purchased. All EVs, current modern EVs, and I won't even make an exception, say for a Taycan or something like that, should be leased. Should be leased. And at the end of the lease, 36, 30, 40, 48 months, whatever, you hand over the keys and drive off in your new vehicle. Because in 4 years, about 99%, today's episode is brought to you by the number 99, will be obsolete or just about by 2027, 2028, give or take. But right now in 2023, the EV6 GT is just, it borderlines on ridiculous. And I mean, there are a number of vehicles that can touch it, but none of them offer so much value, as always, as what you would expect in a Kia product, than EV6 GT. Anyhow, if you know the drill, you know the drill. If you don't know the drill, what's going to happen next is a brief walk around of this vehicle, and then we're going to go for a quiet yet blisteringly quick drive in this new 2023 Kia EV6 GT, underlined like many, many times. Hang in there, please. Now, as far as styling, I think in a previous review I may have even referred to the EV6 as a wagon. I guess I stand by that, but obviously it's the roofline is nowhere near long enough. It should be stretched probably, I don't know, 60 centimeters almost. And the hatch should be far more upright. You know, if Kia wants some styling tips, they can always call me or reach me. Kia people know how to get in touch with me. Anyhow, but still, the styling it's so swept back, so sleek and profiled. It still looks phenomenal. I mean, if anything, I think the design of the EV6 will age very well. Now, what makes the EV6 GT a GT is a revised front bumper, far more aggressive, a little bit spoilery-ish more, excusez-moi. These 21-inch wheels, the green painted calipers, which cover up massive discs, like 15 inches in the front, 14 and change in the rear, both vented. The rear bumper too is a little bit more styled. And then, you know, the real giveaway is the GT badge, aggressive spoiler on top. That's what makes it a Q-ship. I mean, if you do not stare at it long enough, and I do mean long enough, it's just a regular EV6. Speaking of regular EV6, so the base EV6 rear-wheel drive with the regular battery, $42,640 in the US. The GT is $61,600. I think in the US, for that kind of money, no other vehicle, ICE or EV, touches it in terms of performance. No C8 Corvette, I think, maybe is available for that price, and maybe it's as quick. Well, actually, I think the C8 is a little quicker. Okay, so there might be an exception or two, but it won't be as well equipped as this, and you won't be able to carry as much stuff or people. There you go. In Canada, the standard range rear-wheel drive, so the basic EV6, is $47,495. I'm just going to skip right to the GT. I mean, standard equipment for that kind of money is still good. I mean, you have the 12.3-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, 19-inch wheels, blah, blah, blah. But this one, the GT, is priced from $75,995, about 25% more than in the US. But it's okay, it's fine, because if you look at, say, a Mach-E GT or any other performance variation of an EV, that 76 grand is dirt cheap. By the way, this color is Snow White Pearl, which is an extra 250 bucks, so 76,245 as it sits. Now, the GT starts out life, I guess, in a way, as the all-wheel drive long-range GT line with the package 2 for $64,995. So it picks up that car's sunroof, heated front and rear seats, Meridian audio, and heads-up display, and a bunch of other elements. So this thing is still very, very luxurious and well equipped, but it does have a few specific things, aka the 21-inch wheels, as I noted, the body kit, these Eagle F1 tires, they're nuts, sports seats, and a few visual updates on the inside. Speaking of the inside, do we want to see the trunk? I suppose we can go for it. I mean, it's still, I'm kind of trying to draw a parallel with this, but I'm having a hard time with like an STI or an Evo 10 Mitsubishi Lancer. You know, you can do everything with this, and it's ridiculously fast. So 690 liters of trunk space. Oh, here's a hint, a tip. Okay, so this is a press car, so it's got all kinds of junk in shadow. If you're gonna buy one, make sure that the underfloor storage is empty, because every time you accelerate, everything slides, because then you're gonna brake hard, everything slides back. 690 liters, and still a very quick hatch. You know, I like that. Okay, so these pop-out handles are still a little bit of a bugger. I'm thinking next gen is gonna be something else different, because my daughter's finger got caught once in one of these. Anyway, as we were walking away, she just reached in as the car was locking itself. Touches, suede, beautiful stuff. Plenty of room back here. I mean, look at that junk. But look, the amount of leg room. You can't squeeze another person in between, but I mean, as far as ultra mega high performance cars go, there's no one need be convinced that this is awesome. Speaking of awesome, yeah, these sports seats, awesome. And also manual adjustments. Amazing. I mean, you can set yourself up with a 5-point harness or a 4-point harness if you really wanted to, and you're all set. Meridian audio. Why can't I say the word audio? Anyway, let's just jump on board. So the seats are a definite giveaway. I'm gonna start it up. The only other, I mean, other than the little badge right there, zoom in, is it gonna work? No, yes, there we go, is the steering wheel and this button. Yes, it's green. I don't know why it's green, because it probably should be fire red, or, you know, it should be written danger. Anyhow, twin 12.3-inch curved screen, looks fantastic. Same HMI as you get in the regular EV6. This little panel here kind of remains a little bit of an issue when you want to toggle through the different menus, but you get used to that stuff. Storage is actually really good. The bin down here is amazing. Also, make sure that stuff is well anchored or takes up the entire space, because they're going to slide back and forth. I may or may not have experienced that. I think that's it for the inside. I mean, the seats are incredibly comfortable. Heads-up display, you might be able to see it, I'm not sure. Anyhow, that completes the tour on the outside. Let's go for a drive. I'm gonna be straight up honest with y'all. I mean, the EV6 GT is spectacular, but there's a problem. And the problem is our speed limits and our ultra congested roads. All I wanted to do with this car is nail it. Just absolutely crush the throttle. But the reality is that it's just not possible. I mean, with the traffic and all we want, four-wheel spin right there, off the line. 576 horsepower, 545 pound-feet of torque. I mean, a good launch on a good surface will see this car hit 100 kilometers per hour in 3.5 seconds. Now, this is what I mean by S5. Haha. Okay, maybe I don't live in the richest neighborhood, and I've only seen one C8, and I guess maybe I was wrong. Maybe the C8 is a little faster than this. But C8 Corvette, of course. But I mean, look, there's just nothing that can touch this. And this is another issue right now. Once again, stuck at a traffic light, and all I want to do is absolutely crush it. But see, the thing with the EV6 GT also is that it can be driven in an extremely civilized manner. Like I showed you the drive modes, so you have your sport, your eco, your normal, and then when you go into GT, and this is where it gets interesting, you have GT, which is get there, which is just everything is balls out nuts. And then there's my drive mode, which I have configured, where I have the motor in Sport Plus, which is what it has to be. Steering is only in Sport, suspension is in normal because you want that. ELSD is in Sport Plus, ESC is on, obviously, because I don't want it to die and or crash into something else. And that has been essentially my default mode, because I want to feel all this power at all times. And I do want the suspension in its most supple setting. And the suspension itself, this is really boring because I'm sitting still. Wow, I need a new venue. I need to rent a track when I have a vehicle like this. Yeah, oh, the light goes green and I just want to hammer it. Because, I mean, literally your forearms tense up, your head snaps back, your stomach muscles just contract all the effing time, all the time, because there's just so much insane power. and even I'm the driver and I'm ready for it, and both of my hands, I'm braced for it, and I guess my abs are not strong enough for the power. It's not violent, but in a way it is. Look, I don't think no one can ever really get bored of driving this. And if I get back to the suspension in normal, another traffic light, because that's where I live, is that the Eagle F1 tires that I mentioned are very, very hard. I mean, they have to handle said 545 pound-feet of torque, and I have to put that power down to the ground. So they're not exactly very giving or forgiving. So when in GT mode, or just in sport, with the dampers being a little bit more, like dialed up or down, just dialed in some more, the ride doesn't get crashy, but nearly. So my drive mode, the best way to have both. See, that's down and out right away. Otherwise, I'd be doing 95 in a zone that I should not be doing anywhere near that much. What else can I add? Oh yeah, range, I suppose, in this 77.4 kilowatt hour battery, which is a standard battery you get in the all-wheel drive long-range models. But obviously all this kind of power does come at a penalty in the form of range. Because if you take that all-wheel drive long-range GT line package 2 with the 20-inch wheels, you get 406 kilometers of range, which is commendable, reasonable. I mean, again, that EV6 only has 320 HP and 446 pound-feet of torque. Only. Sad, sad, sad. But when you step in with the 21s and the bigger brakes, I think this one weighs about 100 pounds more as well. Range drops to 332, which is catastrophic. But let's be very clear and understand each other that this EV is about just that's all it does. Well, that's not all it does, but that's what it was designed to do. So range is terrible. So if you want to improve, again, down and out right away, improve range, I think maybe get some 20-inch wheels, sell the 21s, keep them as a souvenir, or when you want to resell this in 20 years, because perhaps maybe this will be one of the rare EVs that retains its resale value because it's such a bonkers, insane vehicle. There's no point going on the highway, you know it's fast. And maybe if you do get 20s, maybe you'll get a 5 to 10% improvement in range. Steering is fine, it's not connected to anything, and it doesn't matter. Brake pedal feels great on the regen modes. I still firmly believe that an EV with multiple regen modes, especially with paddles, is your best way to benefit from all the available technology. And that's what I meant when I said all the technology in the EV6 and Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6 too, which is two spectacular EVs, mostly. Yeah, I mean, it'll come to a full stop when you're in max regen, which I think it will. And there we go, I am fully stopped. This car, essentially, this EV, the EV6 GT, runs the entire gambit of ultra-efficient technology and ridiculous mind-bending and gravity-skewering power and speed. It's for $76,245 or $75,995. I can't think of another EV that comes close to this. I mean, I mentioned the Mach-E GT. Sure, it's quick, but it doesn't look like this. It's not put together like this, at least visually speaking. I don't know about the long-term quality, but that's why you lease your EV. Yeah, I'm bananas, bonkers, crazy about this EV. It's spectacular. And if you want one, try and get on the list and lease it. That's it, 0 down. Thank you.